I'm Leslie.
And I'm Shelley.
And we are
Sisters in Ebert.
This week, we're inviting you to join us for our movie of the week, Bull Durham.
Woo! It's baseball season.
Gotta
hit them all.
About the Durham Bulls.
Durham Bulls, yes. I wondered why they chose Bull Durham.
Me too. It doesn't really discuss it.
Phrasing of it, yeah. I thought it was going to be explained at some point.
Yeah, me too.
No, it wasn't.
Well, it's starring our good friend Kevin Costner, who we just discussed.
Yes, he's a big baseball fan, apparently. This was the summer of movies that we enjoyed viewing this. So, Dad introduced this to us.
And this will be privy to our squirrel rating as well.
Yes.
Subject to our squirrel rating.
Yes, which is us staring out the window on the summer day of viewing. And if we didn't like the movie, we spent more time staring out. Hence, we saw more squirrels. So that's where the squirrel rating
The higher the squirrel, the more boring the movie, at least at that time.
Yes.
We'll do our
current squirrel rating, too.
We start out with various baseball images in black and white.
Another lengthy opening.
They like their openings in these older movies. Susan Sarandon is doing the voiceover, and she belongs to the Church of Baseball because there's no guilt.
Until you strike out or do something poorly when you're playing, and then I feel really guilty. So,
but she's done all of the religions, and she only believes in the Church of Baseball.
Yep.
Apparently, she is magical in the bedroom because she will pick a player every season, and that player will have the best season of his life if he sleeps with her. So.
Yeah, it's a very odd concept.
It is.
This movie.
And it's a romantic comedy, they phrased.
That was a loose terminology. Not too much romance, I wouldn't say.
No. And she reads them Walt Whitman and Emily Dickinson because they'll do anything.
They'll listen to anything.
She's chummy with the players' wives, I know, because we've cut to their first, I guess it's their game. It's not batting practice. It's their game.
Yeah, they're playing their first official game. Or maybe it was preseason. Yeah, I'm not sure. They didn't specify.
But she's, saying hi to all the wives, and so apparently
this is minor league.
Baseball. Yeah, minor league baseball. This isn't majors, so they're all hungry to get to the major leagues.
Yeah.
It's Ebby's pro debut, which I forgot to write down his whole name.
It's so long.
It's Ebby something with a C.
I don't even know what it was.
Lelouch or something like that?
Lelouch.
Yeah, is his last name, which is fun because I was like, oh, that's a fun name.
Yeah, it was like a 4 name. Oh, yeah, we should have written it down.
It's
so long. They don't say it very often then because he wants a nickname because it's so long.
Right, and he's the pitcher, and it's his debut with this team in the minors.
Yes.
Yep. And you go right to him in the locker room with Millie. Another, I put skank in training.
Guess what they're doing in the locker room?
At skank school.
Right before the game starts.
Like they're on the field.
The coach comes in it's starting in 4 minutes.
Yeah. And then they have time to go, 3 minutes.
I've got 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But time out. This is opening scene of the movie.
Yeah.
Why did Dad choose this for us?
I like to think he forgot. I forget sometimes when there's a lot of things in a movie, but good question.
This was questionable material to show these preteens here.
Yeah. I was a teenager.
You were a teenager. I was preteen.
But I was like Tina Belcher, right? In the throes of hormonal,
I feel like there was a lot of awkward squirrel watching during
Absolutely.
This one.
It was an awkward squirrel movie. Yeah. Not necessarily boredom squirrels.
Yes.
This was embarrassment squirrels. So, it's the greatest show on dirt, the Durham Bulls. Let's see what happens. Okay, so Millie comes out too. She sits with Susan Sarandon.
Who is Annie.
Annie, yep. Yeah, another Annie. They're recycling everything.
Kevin Costner.
Wait, what? I didn't check what year this movie came out. Did you?
It was the year before.
The year before. Okay. So maybe Field of Dreams built on the... Because I was going to say, they copied Field of Dreams, but I didn't know which one came out.
Not Amy.
Not Amy, no.
Nope, it's Annie.
And I watched that last video. I didn't say it enough for anybody to get drunk off of it. So.
Well, there you go. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back and watch
our previous movie.
Our Field of Dreams review, and you will learn the Amy Annie controversy.
And why Leslie needs subtitles.
Yes, or hearing aids.
Well, I just need to not listen to it on 4 because the kids are sleeping. 4. Yeah, because like that's why I rely on my subtitles. Yeah.
All right. Got it.
Okay. So, let's see. Okay. Ebby walks a guy with a second pitch because he ends up hitting him with it.
He is wild. He can throw them very, very far and very hard.
Charlie Sheen in Major League.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
With
just
Wild
no control over these pitches.
Yep.
And they are wild.
They're wild. Like, he's hitting players right and left. Like, they didn't bother to rein him in early like they did.
It's clear he's in the minor leagues for a reason.
Millie tells Annie that he F's like he pitches all over the place. Yeah.
And yet Annie's like, all right, I can fix this.
I can fix this. He walked 18. That's a new league record.
The first game or whatever it is.
And he's got $1 million arm and a 5-cent head. Because he's dumb like a stump.
He really does have a big forehead.
Yeah.
It was distracting at times. He had like a perm of sorts. Yeah. So it was very tall hair, so that added to
He reminded me kind of like a John C. Reilly-esque.
I could see that.
Yeah, like that era, you know. Mm-hmm. But we'll discuss. He goes on to do some good acting-wise things. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, okay. So Crash Davis comes to hone in Ebby, who is Kevin Costner. And
Crash. That's a good nickname.
That's a good
Ebby needs a nickname. He missed out on Crash. Yeah. That's a good one.
And Crash reads books without pictures. I forget who they said, if that was in the bar. The guy was telling Annie about Crash because she was asking who he was.
Oh, okay. So, so they're in a bar after the game.
Yeah.
Celebrating.
Because this all happened really quick, like they brought him in like that afternoon.
Yeah, they're like, we need you to mentor this wild pitcher
now,
immediately. You start tomorrow.
Yes, and
he, of course, is like, well, I don't wanna, but I guess I will. He has nothing better to do,
and he needs a paycheck, I would imagine.
Yes.
So meets Annie Savoy, and then he ends up Crash ends up fighting Ebby over Annie because they both want Annie.
And Annie wants both of them. Like, she asks them to dance
and like Kevin Costner's character talks about like all these like romantic things and like she's like,
she's a Southern belle and that just tickled her fancy there.
She's not like a particularly young woman in this movie though.
No, she was 42 when they filmed it.
Okay. She looks it. Yeah, I mean, not to be mean, but like she's looked the same forever.
Yeah, she has looked 42 for about 80 years.
Yeah. Aside from Rocky Horror, like I think that's the only movie I've seen her look young in.
Yeah, look different. Yeah. So she does look older than
like so she's not like Millie is a young girl and like, you know, she still has like marrying years ahead of her and stuff like that, but we're just kind of to imagine that Annie, this is like her life, you know.
This is what she does. This is
this
is based the religious baseball
experience. Yeah. Annie takes both to her plays, and Crash the Romantic gives Annie the vapors.
Yeah. Okay. So you bring both these guys back to your place.
She's got this huge southern mansion too. Like, I mean, it's not a mansion, but it's a big old house.
It's a nice southern home.
Yeah. And she talks about having to slow Ebby down because he's going too fast. Crash ends up leaving because he wants her to choose, and she says that she's monogamous during the baseball season.
And she's trying to choose between the two of them. And Crash is like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Felicia. So he's gone, and then Annie ties up Ebby to the bed and ends up reading Walt Whitman to him. And that was all night. Like, there was nothing physical of any kind. And so the next day he gets there and he's absolutely exhausted.
Gets to practice. And
they're like, is she really as good as they say? And he's like, I wouldn't know. She read all night. Walt Whitman. Jimmy leads the daily chapel in the locker room, and Annie nicknames Ebby Nuke. So that's what he comes in with. He's Nuke now.
Yeah, and then everybody's just on with it.
Yep.
Like, nobody calls him Ebby again. I
No.
don't think in the rest of the movie. He's Nuke.
Crash kind of gives him he's trying to, kind of whip him into shape right away, though, and he notices that there's fungus on his shower shoes.
Oh, they were gross.
They were gross.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah, he's basically saying, like, you need to be a professional if you want to
you're
become
a slob
professional.
right now. Like, you can do quirky things like that if you're a big shot, but you can't do it now.
And he's, like, really cocky for how bad he is.
Right. That's just
like, he has potential to be good.
Right. And
he's acting like he's amazing.
And he's super young, and, like, that immaturity just shows through.
But he was, like, in 30, I think, when they filmed it.
He looked 30, too.
Yeah.
But, again, like, how do you know? Because, like, a lot of people then, in these movies, it's the hair, I think.
Different.
And maybe skincare, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a different time now.
Yes. Because you think of what a 30-year-old looks like now, and, like, you had 30-year-olds playing, like, 19 and 20, you know? Like, so, yeah. Okay, so Crash's big insult is meat, I put. Because every time he wants to, like, he, like, calls somebody meat. Like, we call the pitcher and Ebby meat. Like, both of them.
Hey, meat.
Yeah, you want to do this? You know, like, he's all... So he's the catcher, Crash. Mm-hmm. And Annie is stuck in Crash's head. Because he sees her, you know.
He goes up to bat and he's thinking about her.
Yeah, because he sees her in the crowd.
It's like, you met her once.
Was
she that captivating?
I know. And let's see. Get a hit, Crash. Oh, yeah, the kid says to Crash, get a hit. And he's like, shut up.
Yeah, the ball boy.
The ball boy. Because Annie sends Crash then a note, and he writes Annie back a personal note and tells the kid not to read it. And, because she sends them notes during the thing, like what they're doing wrong and what they need to like.
Yeah, she's watching. She's got like binoculars watching the game, and she knows exactly how to fix them, and sends them a note in the middle to see if they can do better.
So I'm like, you're telling this little kid not to read a note. He's gonna read the note.
Yeah, he's like 10. He can definitely read that note.
Yeah, but it says he wants to make love to you, and she just gets a note. Oh my! Like that's Annie's whole thing is oh my.
Yeah, but that is not what.
That's not what he wrote.
No,
that's what she said.
There is a word on there we cannot.
That's
say
what Millie said.
Yeah, Millie said that's what
he wants to make love to you because she asked what it said, and
it was a 4-letter word that we cannot say here. This is a family-friendly program. Go watch the movie and read carefully as he's writing it down.
And I said, okay, this is my philosophy that I wrote in here, that personal was code word in the 80s. Because anytime, like, I feel like that was a word people used a lot then. And I don't know if it was just the 80s. It might have been the 60s, 70s, 50s too. Like, this is personal. You don't do this. But I feel like that was, like, the code word for, like, this is, like, of a romantic, like, semi-risque nature. Okay. Don't read it. Like, we don't use that now. Like, people just come out and say...
This is personal, please don't.
But this is personal. Yeah, like, this is a personal, you know, like...
I guess, yeah. It's a little more formal than people are now.
But, yeah, I noticed that, because I noticed that not just in this film, but other things. I said for sexy and obscene verbiage. That's what I wrote. Annie is monogamous during the baseball season, and she turns down Crash, who, again, tries to get, you know, her out of his head. So, because, did she show up at his place yet? I don't know if I wrote that part. Because at one point she storms into his apartment, or did he go to her house?
That's later.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you're right. Okay, so this must have just been, like, either at her house or at some...
Or even at the stadium.
Yeah, I think she was still at the stadium.
In the parking lot, maybe. Weren't they leaving to go on an away game or something?
Yes, that was it. So Annie calls Nuke then Crash in bed. Like,
yes.
And she tells him not to worry about what a woman says in the throes of passion.
It's very Blanche Devereaux.
Yes,
if you like the Golden Girls,
that is Annie. She's a dirtier Blanche, though.
She's, young, dirty Blanche.
Yeah.
Younger.
Yeah, well, Blanche was only 44.
True.
Okay. I said more voodoo in this movie, because there's another player who's into voodoo.
All these movies are exactly the same. Same name, same concepts.
They found the formula and they're sticking to it.
It worked.
I said with Jose's chicken bone cross, and he's like crossing everybody's, he's touching everybody's bat to get the curse off of the bat. And
they're
then,
like touching their own bets to it.
Yeah. And then there's $1,000 dropped from a helicopter for kids to run out and grab randomly, and they never talk about it. And
it said something about like a fundraiser, like they announced it, like I forget what it was, like Boys and Girls Club or something, like or Little League something or other. But it's all that minor league kitschy
fun
stuff.
Yeah, all the little games and
that's how they keep the crowd coming.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Crash is explaining how ground balls are more democratic and strikeouts are fascist. Which is dumb. Sorry, Kevin Class.
I don't think he wrote the line.
I hope not. And then Crash and Nuke decides he doesn't want to do what Crash is telling him to do.
So Crash is sending the signals and Nuke's shutting it down.
So Crash tells the batter what's coming next, which is going to be the fastball. The player hits the ball, which is a home run, and and it hits the bowl cut out, so everybody wins steak.
I think it's just that player.
Oh, just the player.
I read about it then.
Okay.
Like it was like they kept it then in the stadium. Okay. Like they did it for the movie, but then kept, and they even moved it when they moved to a new stadium.
Oh, neat.
Because they're like, this is kind of fun. So it's that player wins it to a local restaurant.
Okay. It was just like,
they can't afford to give everybody a steak in the audience.
That's true. Coach can't get through to the players, and Crash says they're kids, so scare them. So he starts yelling at them like they're, little kids. And this is where we get to the most memorable thing that I had prior to rewatching it was they lollygagged to the infield. You lollygagged to first. What does that make them?
Lollygag.
And that was like our big thing that we took away. Like I remembered this quote for the rest of my life after watching.
As soon as I heard it, I was like, "That's from this movie."
I thought it was from Major League, and then now that
didn't happen.
No, it was lollygaggers. Yeah. So
that phrase was common in our house.
Yeah, we said that a lot. Bobby gets released. Didn't know who Bobby was.
Yeah, some random player
with pants unzipped for some reason.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
He just came in with no shirt on and his pants unzipped.
They always come into the coach's office they're like, "You wanted to see me?" And I'd be like, "I didn't mean immediately."
I feel like
you can dress,
shirt, boy. Yeah.
And then he just fires him.
So he's fired. He's released. Annie gives Nuke garters for away games.
Yes, she said it'll help him
channel his sexual energy or
and
something.
take his mind off pitching, so he's thinking about something else. So wear this woman's garter. So
I said, they still show ball players with dip on the bus.
Yeah,
like the one guy noticeably had dip in his mouth and he was like spitting in a container. I'm like, I know what he's doing. It was like they took that all out in like the late 90s.
They're going on like a really long series of away games at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on the bus and team bonding.
No one knew Crash was in the majors, which I find that hard to believe. Because these are all minor league baseball players hungry to get to the major leagues, but you didn't know that you had a major league ball player there with
Granted, he wasn't in very long.
No, but
21 games?
Think about our local minor league. They always make a big deal when they get somebody from the majors.
That's true.
And so... I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But so he had a short stint in major leagues, and he's regaling them on the bus.
The majors are the show. It's the show.
I'm going to the show.
Yeah. Nuke is not wearing the garters, and he keeps losing.
But he keeps holding them and looking at them like, should I? And then he tucks them back away.
And he's like, nope, too, I can't do it. Too feminine. The whole bus of female ice skaters pulls up at the one hotel they're staying at, and the one guy's like, that's how we'll get
this is what we need. This will take our minds off of losing.
Crash gets a rain out for the next day because they were like, we just need a rain out. I wish we got. And it was like, there's no rain coming in the forecast. So Crash somehow breaks into the stadium that they're playing in and leaves the sprinklers on, getting them a rain out. But I'm like, it's so random. Like how it's in a way. It's not like it's your home.
Yeah, they just break into a fence, find the sprinkler system, turn it all on. And flood out the stadium. But they all have a grand old time.
Yes,
they're splashing around.
I said playing some sprinklers for some reason. I put probably much younger than they looked in parentheses as a note to myself. Because to me, I feel like I'm not getting in the mud and then have to get back in the car. But how maybe they could walk there because, I mean, they didn't have their own cars.
They took a cab.
Oh, that's right.
Because he says, I'm not paying for this. And Crash is like, oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah, you're right.
Heads into, he's breaking into the stadium with the cab driver right there. Didn't even wait for the guy to pull away.
And then Nuke has a dream about wearing the garters and nothing else while he's pitching. And
he wakes up flustered on the bus and Crash is like, I have that dream too.
He didn't know he was wearing the garters.
Yeah, he was just like, that he was naked on the field.
Annie's trying to rechannel Ebby with catch. And garter.
They're playing catch.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm like, with catch.
They're playing catch in the backyard with Millie as the catcher.
Yeah, and she's just squatting in a skirt. Too.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and it's supposed to make him.
I guess. And they're talking about the garter and why didn't he wear the garter? And so he finally decides to wear it, and then Crash catches him putting it on. He's like, explains it to him that it's Annie having him rechannel his sexual energy. And he's like, well, the rose goes in the front.
Yeah, he turns it for him. The rose goes in the front. It was kind of a cute little moment between them.
Yeah.
They are bonding now, too.
And as they were playing catch with Annie, she's telling him he needs to be like the lava lizards. Mayan or Aztec, you can't remember.
She always
gets them confused. And she's not the only one, because 3 other people discuss this later on in the movie, and all 3 are like, Mayan or Aztec? I don't remember.
Yeah, she says, like, breathe through
your
eyelids. You have to
breathe out of your eyelids like a lava lizard. And then Crash informs Nuke that he needs to throw the next pitch at the mascot to psych out the batter. So he does. So the batter thinks so Crash is like, oh, he's all over the place. I never know what he's gonna do. I'd be careful if I were you.
Yeah, it definitely scared him a little bit.
Yep.
But he's doing Nuke is pitching very well.
And he's listening to Crash's calls.
Because Annie told him to.
Right. Annie told him to listen.
He's listening, and all of a sudden it's working. He's playing with his little garter under his pants. Yeah. He's noticing it, and it's working.
Yep. But then he comes to where he wants to go back and make his own call. He's sick of listening to everybody else, and Crash ends up telling the batter again what's coming every time Nuke shakes off the calls. So they're on a winning streak, and so Nuke decides he's not going to have sex again until they have a loss.
Yes, they decide he is going to refrain because he doesn't want to mess with the
juju.
Yeah, the juju that's happening here.
So Annie needs a man.
Annie's flustered.
Yes, because she thought as soon as he came home, they'd be back to it. Which, my goodness, lady.
No.
You belong to the Church of Baseball. You think you do what's right for the player, but whatever.
But that's not how she practices this religion.
That's right. Crash, the next time they're on the bus, is teaching, or is it on the bus or the locker room? I don't remember which, but he's talking to Nuke and teaching him about interview cliches. That he needs to work on his interviews and, just take it one day at a time.
It's on the bus. And he's like, write this down. This is what you need to say.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this one day. It's all those
I'm
phrases.
just happy to be here. Yes.
You still hear him now anytime there's a sports interview.
Yep. All right, so Crash tells Nuke not to stop rechanneling the sexual energy because Nuke said that Annie was getting upset with him about it. So, Crash tells him not to stop rechanneling.
And I was wondering, is that because, yes, he thinks it's working, or because he still wants Annie?
I think it's both. I think it was both, because I think it was he doesn't want to he knows it's in Nuke's head, too. So, he wants him to do what's going to work for him. So Jimmy, when they're getting off the bus, Millie's waiting for the team, and she says, "Hi, Jimmy." And Jimmy asks if he can give Millie his testimony, his Christian testimony. And she's like, "You can do whatever you want." And I know she's wearing a shirt that just says "cuddle" on it. And it's got 2 teddy bears. It's one of those weird that I thought I was just dressed in because I was a little kid, but I guess everybody was back then.
She is a cute little
thing. She is adorable, yeah. Loose, but adorable.
Loose, but adorable.
And then they explain that female genitalia is the Bermuda Triangle. Crash explains that to Nuke, and Nuke says so that's why he's not going to get lost, and he's going to keep on this.
He's telling this to Annie, right? He's saying, this is what Crash told me, and she's getting mad. Hopping mad.
So, as Annie's trying to seduce Nuke, Annie teaches English and basic comp at a junior college.
Yeah.
Is what she does.
Yeah, No, this is when she yells at Crash. Because he's like, what do you even do?
Yeah.
Yeah, she comes to his apartment. Yeah. Just barges in. Yep. He's ironing in his underwear.
For some reason.
Yeah. And she's like, how dare you tell Nuke that he can't be with me? Yeah. And she's all upset. And then he's like, what do you even do for a living? Yeah. And so she's part-time teacher at the university.
At the junior college.
Junior college, yes.
Crash recognizes the importance of beliefs and superstition in baseball, I put, though, because it is, like, it's half a mental game, so that makes sense. The Durham Bulls can't lose, and Annie can't get laid.
Yeah, this is the strangest season she's ever had because they're playing well and she's not getting anything.
Nuke's dad ends up coming to the game and his chakras are jammed. He can't breathe out of his right eyelid.
They end up having like a powwow in the pitcher's mound.
I have that, because Jimmy's engaged to Millie after 5 hours. Jose has a curse on his glove. And there's a convention at the pitching mound. They're dealing with a lot of stuff right now.
They're all just chit-chatting. Everybody's looking around like, we gonna play?
Yeah.
And they're just having this whole discussion. And the coach is like, what's going on over here? And Crash is like, well, here's the problem. We don't know what to get Millie for a wedding present.
It's like,
can't breathe out the eyelid.
So here's what you do. You see if she's registered anywhere.
Yeah, he's like, candlesticks always make a good...
Yeah. And if she's registered someplace, get her a place setting.
Yeah. Which I read that he ad-libbed the candlestick.
Oh, that's great.
Because it was something his wife had talked about.
It seemed pretty, like, natural. So
yeah. It was a really funny scene. I like this one.
No, I like that part, too. It broke up the movie.
Yes.
Millie is getting her dress altered. Annie's the one altering it and I guess making it.
She is a woman of many talents. Let me tell you.
And they're discussing, she should wear white, and Annie says everyone deserves to wear white.
They're listening to the baseball game.
They're not at the game because she's like, well, you should be there because they're really struggling. And she's like, nope, I'm not going to be there. Yeah. Crash ends up getting tossed from the game because he called the ump something nasty.
We can't.
I don't know where though.
He got really heated about call.
Really quick for no reason. Yeah,
I think he wanted to get tossed.
I think he did too. But the wrong man came calling. Nuke and his dad show up. And his dad believes that Annie's a Christian woman.
Yeah, which I don't know why that came up.
I guess Nuke told him that.
I guess, but...
Yep, so the wrong man came calling.
Yeah, so she wants it to be Crash, but it's not Crash.
Oh, yeah, because they lost. So she said that meant a man was going to come calling. But it was the wrong man came calling.
Yeah, so Nuke's like, this is a good time to meet the parents.
Yeah! And he wants to hook up right there with the dad in the other room.
His dad's like one room over. He's like, we got some time.
Yeah. So Skipper calls Nuke in. That's the coach. And he's going to the show.
He gets a phone call at Annie's.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's so excited. He's called up to the majors. He goes out, tells his dad they're celebrating. And that means...
Yep, Annie breaks up with Nuke there.
Annie has done her job.
Yep.
She got him as far as she could.
She can't help him in the majors. That's got to be another magic.
So they say goodbye.
Yeah. Nuke comes to thank Crash then at a billiards place.
Yeah, he's like in this smoky looking bar.
And they fight again for some reason.
Crash is all angsty.
Yeah, he really is.
He's upset. I don't know. He's not very happy. Nuke, of course, is so excited, and Crash is not excited the way he should be for his dear friend here. His mentee.
Mentee, yeah. So Nuke hit Crash with his left non-pitching arm, which Crash was then happy about because that means he's understanding and learning.
Yeah, he's listening to his teachings that you need to protect yourself professionally.
They play with fear and arrogance no matter what is his other Crash's other advice to Nuke.
Life lesson.
Because, that's the only way you're going to make it. You need a certain amount of arrogance. And then Jimmy ends up marrying Millie on the field for some reason.
Right before the game? Before or after? I couldn't tell.
It looked like before.
Yeah, but then they're all in the locker room celebrating. I'm like, do we not have a game to play?
That's what I put. Celebrates in the locker room with the team for some reason instead of your wife.
Yes! Yeah, she's not there. They're just spraying champagne. They've got a cake.
Yeah, it's so weird. An obscene cake, too. They released Crash since Nuke is going to the majors, going to the show.
But Crash is carrying that team at this point. Like, he was the only good player, it seemed.
But
it was law. They released him before the season's done.
Yeah, right? You think they would just finish it up.
Yeah, you'd think. But no,
they're bringing in some new young kid from upstate or whatever
to finish out their terrible season.
So the skipper recommends Crash for Major League and as a manager, or for the minor league manager one day. And Crash is like, well, gee, thanks, you know.
Yeah. But really, that's where you're at in your career. Yep. Take it.
Exactly. Crash goes to Annie's, which I put huge house across from industrial buildings. Because if you look in the background, it's just him with industrial buildings and then this like farmhouse-esque,
southern plantation.
Annie knew already that he was out.
Which, how did she hear?
Either Skipper called her or that's her Church of Baseball talking. I don't know.
I don't know, but she's privy to this information already.
And I put that she says her signature phrase, "Oh my."
Oh,
because that's all she says the whole time. Well, that's not all she says, but she says
that's
it a lot.
Catchphrase.
Yeah. They're on the kitchen. Oh yeah, they're just like hooking up nonstop. And
this was another lengthy scene here, which I'm sure we were staring out the window for most of this. I don't remember much of it. I think I blocked it out.
I think I did too. They were on the kitchen table with milk, that like a whole gallon of milk they knocked over. It's like all over the place, and they're just like going out. I'm like, I'm just like, oh, the mess. I can't.
Yeah, they're just throwing caution to the wind here. Like, someone's gonna have to clean this place up here.
And I put that it must have been much cheaper back then to buy milk. Because
I wouldn't be wasting that.
Not at these prices. Annie tied up getting her toenails painted.
Yes.
And she's very aroused for some reason getting her toenails painted.
I think because he's making her wait for it. She's not used to this. She's the one in control usually. That's but now Crash is in control. Okay. And she's liking it.
Yeah, she does. So Crash Crash leaves in the morning with just a note.
Yeah, leaves her a note.
At dawn. And I put that he was humped back to strength. Because, like, he was so, like, at his lowest point, and he goes to Annie, and now it's, like, 3 days later, okay, bye!
I'm back on my feet! I was cut from the team, but now I'm feeling fine. That's what the note should have said. Feeling
fine. A window into his insane thoughts.
We are just references.
Name that Simpsons. Okay. Not worried about Nuke. Annie's in the filthy. Oh yeah, like nobody's worried about Nuke in the majors. He'll be fine. Annie's in her filthy house. Like she's
I'm not being a very good housekeeper.
But
these
she's
days.
just then cleaning up like the milk and cereal. And I'm like, how many days has it been?
Yeah.
And then you cut to Nuke, who's giving his cliche interviews.
Oh,
with a haircut.
Yes, he looked much better. Yeah. He looks like a major league player. Yes, he had the top down. He was doing
very Don Johnson 80, you know, like Annie's home from a rainout game, and she finds...
Yeah, she decides to go back and keep watching the games. I don't know, nostalgia.
She's got nothing else to do.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not junior college season. So she's home from a rainout.
With a parasol, like, that would not stop the rain. I was thinking the whole time, like, ooh, this was an odd choice to bring to this downpour.
Yeah. And she brought it, so they must have been calling
she knew it was going to rain.
Crash is on the porch, and he hit his 247th dinger and quit.
He set a record and was gone.
And he was done. Which I would have tried to follow... do the rest of the season and make that record harder to beat. But who am I to say?
Yeah. And, keep collecting a paycheck.
That's
always nice.
Yeah.
When you've got nothing else coming.
Because he was playing for some other team that had a spot open or something.
Asheville.
Okay. You got the name. I didn't.
I did.
Yeah. Crash is trying to make it to the show as a manager and has a lot of time to hear about Annie's theories.
Yeah, she starts babbling on and he's like, shush it, girl.
Yeah.
Not why I'm here.
Stays with Annie. And that's pretty much the end of the movie.
Yep,
they're just on her porch.
I guess they're in love and they're staying together.
I guess. It was very ambiguous.
It was. And it's just an odd storyline. Very strange. I found, as I was watching it, like... I enjoyed the baseball aspect, and I could have done without the whole Annie storyline. I don't know. I love a good romantic movie.
They needed Annie to mold Nuke, I guess.
Yes, but I feel like Crash was doing a pretty okay job of molding him.
That's true.
Like, I felt it was unnecessary for this storyline. But
I think because she's just, small town.
It was a little too magical. I don't know.
Well, I did put a couple notes about some of the things in the movie. Okay, so a couple times we see Max Patkin, who is the clown prince of baseball.
Yes.
And he's this guy, and that was like his shtick. He was a baseball clown, and yep. He's in a couple scenes. Yeah. And he was a World War II vet, and after injury stopped minor league career and went and started doing his clown prince of baseball.
It was nice because
it was a real guy.
Yeah, and that's the minor league thing. Like you have this fun aspect to it.
And then Nuke, who's Tim Robbins played Nuke, which I didn't recognize him until I looked him up. Mm-hmm. He's in Top Gun, Howard the Duck, Twister, Austin Powers, Anchorman, and his biggest role that I was familiar with was Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption.
Oh,
yeah, I know, that's Nuke. Can you believe it?
No,
I know.
That was what, like 10 years later?
Yeah. Oh, and I put this in for Shelley especially. He was also the voice of Jim Hope, who was the president of Kid First Industries with the Funzo episode of The Simpsons. So I put he's a few prawns short of a galaxy.
You don't have Funzo. You're
nothing. Yeah, so he was the voice of Jim Hope too, because they had a Simpsons thing listed on his IMDb, and then I had to go research who that character was, which episode that was.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So he and Susan Sarandon dated for a long time.
Did they? Mm-hmm. I didn't know
long
that.
time.
Is that who she had her kids with? Or
you don't know?
I don't know. Yeah.
I didn't know she had children.
Maybe she only has one. I think she definitely is a daughter, but I don't know.
But yeah, like they were together. They're not together anymore, but they were together many years after this.
Okay. Is this where they met?
I think so. I'm not positive though, but I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
It was around this time that they started.
Well,
dating.
then the romantic leads, I guess. Yeah. Even though she was supposedly like more the Kevin Costner.
Yeah, and she's 12 years older than he is.
Oh my. And then Jimmy, who was like who married Millie, he was in Hot Shots, and he was a regular on Home Improvement, which I didn't watch that show, but that's what he's, I guess, most known for. And he was an episode in episode each of CSI Miami and X-Files.
Oh.
And then Tony, who was the he was an extra, like he wasn't the voodoo guy. He was another guy. Yeah, another guy. And he does say he's Tony because Millie picks him up at one point early in the movie. But he also, I just looked him up, but he wasn't in anything like really significant. But I noticed he also played Tony in 2 episodes of Happy Days. So, and he was in Chuck and Larry too. Oh. Yeah. But that's what I got for that. Now, what do you got? Like you said, you did a little bit of.
I said what I.
Oh, you said what you said.
Yeah, just the little tidbits. I like to read movie trivia.
Yeah.
After I've watched it, that's what I go back and do and say, oh, that's a fun little fact. Yeah, this movie was something.
It was. Now, what would your squirrel rating be for Back in the Day?
Oh my gosh, through the roof. I had no memory of this movie besides like the lollygaggers, like a few little phrases here and there. I was like, I remember that, but I don't remember a lot of this movie because I was not interested. I
remember thinking this was too adult for me. I feel
it was, and it was a little awkward to be watching
with your parents.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say 89 squirrels. 88. I think that's the year it came out. 88 squirrels. Just because it was a little awkward.
Let's see. I'll say 247 squirrels for Kevin Costner's Stingers.
Dingers!
Because it was a lot. It was many squirrels. I only remember the lollygaggers too. I remember kind of being bored with it as a teen. Like
I was not excited to rewatch it because I was like, I didn't like it then. I'm not gonna like it now. I was intrigued by it.
It was good. I liked it now much better.
Like I said,
it was entertaining.
I could do without some of the storyline though.
How many squirrels would you give it now?
2, 3.
That low?
Yeah, pretty low.
Okay.
I like the baseball.
She's
aspect.
A generous.
I'm generous with my squirrels now.
You are generous.
I don't know.
With age comes,
maturity. I still don't want to watch it with my parents though.
No,
sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
We're not gonna rewatch this with you. Still a little
Maybe
awkward.
just the lollygag.
Yeah, just some lines.
Yeah, I would probably. I wouldn't give it many scrolls. It was entertaining. I liked it.
Yeah.
And my husband walked in again while I was watching this one, and he was like, "Oh, he's like, I gotta run out, but this looks pretty good." I'm like, well, yeah, so it's entertaining. But we thank you for joining us again for another Sisters and Ebert.
Yes, hope you enjoyed our opinions on this one. Let us know yours.
Yep. If you disagree with us, great. If not, great. And we'll see you at the movies.